Orphan boy is reincarnated as a son of a noble. Later he finds out his death was a mistake, so the gods made him a vessel, giving him godlike powers and making all his status max out. Shayna is a young boy walking to the store at night. He lost all his relatives and is currently living alone. However, as he arrives at the store, he notices people running out of it, and two girls bumping into him. They lay flat on the ground, and Shayna notices what was going on. There's a lunatic criminal with a knife, swinging it in front of everyone and promising to kill them. He first tries to run away while telling the girls to also run, but notices the girls are too scared to move. Seeing this as a moment where he must show his true courage, he rushes against the madman and pushes him to the ground. He tells the girls to hurry up and leave, until the notices that due to his bad luck, the criminal instantly stabbed him right in front of them and runs away. The girls rush to check him out, but it's too late. Shayna is already on his final breaths. The girls cannot believe their eyes and cry their souls out. But Shayna is glad he managed to save them, despite making them cry afterward. He ends up accepting his fate, and suddenly he wakes up finding himself in a fancy bedroom, lying on the bed. He thinks he survived and he's in a private hospital, but when he looks around, he sees a maid and a random woman. The maid starts to tear up, calling him Master Cain, and the other woman hugs him right away, asking if he recognizes his mother. They're happy that he's okay, but he still doesn't understand why the hell are they always calling him Cain. Shayna doesn't know what is going on. Who are these women, and more importantly, whom that guy reflected in the mirror? As expected, he starts to freak out. Where is he? Who is that guy? Who are these people? After calming down, he starts to understand that's his body, and the women explain he has been asleep for a week after getting bedridden for a fever. The two leave to prepare him some food, and while looking at the mirror, Shayna understands what's going on. He realizes that he's now Cain, the son of a noble, and more importantly, he's living the dream. He reincarnated in another world. He's bummed out by this revelation. He wanted to help catch the criminal, but he got stabbed and died. But not all hope is lost within him. He actually wished that one day he would reincarnate into a different world. So he's going to seize the opportunity to do something that he's always wanted to. And the most important thing, he got to know his size, just to get caught in an embarrassing moment by Sylvia, who makes him even more embarrassed. Sylvia tries to go get him up to speed with what's been happening since he went into a coma. He learns that he's born into a noble family that governs the Gracia territory, and he's the third son of the Silford household, Cain. From the furniture around him and the mansion that he's in, he also understands that his family is very rich, mostly because he has two brothers, one sister, and one stepmother, giving him an immediate green card to start his own harem. But he wants to go outside and see what is happening, and he asks Sylvia when he can go outside. She explains all of the territory thing, the forest of monsters, adventurers, and everything else. He gets excited to have died in his old life. Sylvia tells him that he could become a wizard when he grows up and get rid of the monsters. He's so excited that he wants to try magic immediately. But Sylvia tells him people can only use magic after they turn 5, so he needs to wait 2 more years. When he turns 5, he must go to the temple and get a blessing from God to finally use it. But he's way too excited to wait 2 years to try magic. He wants to do magic right away, so he wants to find a way soon. So first, he must learn the basics, like how to write and do math. A simple task for him because he was a high schooler. His parents start to think that's strange because he changed a lot since he woke up. He freaks out but explains he was simply doing his best to learn. And that's when his father reveals that since he's the third son, he's literally doomed. He has no rights when it comes to the heirloom. Cain takes this opportunity to then asks for books about magic in the world. His sister doesn't like it, because he can't use magic until he simply starts using it without people noticing it. His sister almost caught him doing magic, but luckily she didn't see anything. But nevertheless, he cannot lower his guard because she has a little brother complex. She teaches him about the world, history, and magic, revealing their kingdom was formed by a random guy, whose name is also Japanese. She explains about all the races, elves, dwarves, beast folk. He's literally living the dream. 2 years pass, and now that he's 5 years old, the day has come when he'll visit the temple to get his blessing. He meets with his father and mother, and the older sister who gives him a big hug for looking so cute. They all set out the house and into the carriage to make their trip. Cain is happy that he'll finally see his magic status and venture out. He asks his sister what a status screen looks like, and she shows it to him by opening hers. He looks closely at her profile and sees her magic levels. He sees her title of being obsessed with him and almost chokes on nothing. She gets embarrassed, but he diverts the attention to her magic levels of 2 each. His father tells him even more about the levels of magic. They are given by God's blessing and their range comes from 1 to 5. They soon reach the temple. They get inside and the ritual begins. From the gods, the priest does the incantations and Cain waits eagerly for the revelation of his magic status. Suddenly, he hears someone laughing and sees a bright light behind the god statues. In the next second, he opens up his eyes and realizes that he's in the world of the gods. Many other godlike people appear one after another. They're glad that Cain is finally 5 years old because it's been forever since they waited. They call him by his real name, Sheena. They introduce themselves to him and explain how he ended up in this world. Basically, this is another case where there was a mistake. He wasn't supposed to die. The maniac was going to trip while running and then be arrested. But Sheena decided to be a hero and went for it, so he died for absolutely no reason. The gods thought he was a good guy and decided to reincarnate him in this world. They intended to seal his memories to avoid the trauma of changing diapers and stuff, but in the end, he somehow awakened them. Cain still thanks them for giving him an opportunity to keep his memories. He didn't have any relatives in his original world, and remembering it makes him value his family even more. Each of the gods get closer to him, giving him their blessing and promise to meet him again. Upon returning to the temple, everyone comments on the light and the possibility that he may have been blessed by all gods. His father gets hyped up, asking him to show his status window. But Cain knows something is wrong. The god of creation told that he had a little present for him while laughing. That suspicion makes Cain pretend that he's sick and he runs from the place, just to hide and see his stats. And to his shock, he was right. His stats are all maxed. And when I say all maxed, I don't mean level 5. They're all level 10. He's already in S rank despite being 5 years old. But luckily that old god had some sense and gave him a magic spell that enables him to fake his status window numbers. Later, during dinner, his father asks him to show his status window. He pretends everything is normal, see rank, all god blessings, between level 1 and level 3, which is already too powerful for a 5-year-old. Of course, everyone gets shocked, and if you consider it, he has over 300,000 magic power, which is 300 times stronger than the best mages in the country. Everyone in his family is so shocked that his father tells him to never show anybody his status without knowing he's way stronger. He explains that if Cain shows off or makes a wrong move, he will be considered a threat to the world and put under supervision. Back in his room, Cain starts to realize his mistake and how he should have lowered his stats even more. But he notices a book on summoning magic. He has been always interested in summoning cute beasts and playing with them, so decides to summon something outside. He starts the ritual, expecting to summon something fluffy. But what comes out of that circle isn't something like that, it's a demon. For some reason his sister and a cat girl is walking at that same moment, and the demon prepares to attack them. Cain rushes to stop it, putting himself in front of them. The demons shout and the girls scream, making him realize on how he tried to defend the other 2 girls in his previous life. He rushes forward once again. I swear this guy likes to rush and die. He casts his flame magic, jumps on top of the beast, and he's about to hit. The demon punches him. While being punched, summoning all the courage, he casts a spell to return the demon from where it came from and saves the day. Obviously, he still ends up being smacked to the ground, and the girls rush to his aid. To be fair, I still don't know where the cat girl came from, and neither does he, because he just says cat ears instead of her name. His sister is tearing apart, and he's laying wondering that he's dying once again for protecting 2 girls and didn't have the chance to touch the cat's ears. The girls cry more intensively as he starts closing his eyes, accepting his death, until he simply gets up and realizes he isn't dead. He doesn't even have any injuries on his body. His sister tears a little bit more and then smiles while hugging him, making him realize that he could only make the other girls cry in his past life. But this time, it will be different. He will protect everyone's smiles. During the banquet, he introduces himself and reveals his desire to explore the world and become an adventurer.